At the beginning of the day, I knew exactly what would happen to me when I was a cop.
I knew that the bullet would miss.
I knew that I'd go home to my wife.
It was all in the script. But real policemen and firemen, they don't have a script.
The bullet doesn't always miss.
They don't always go home.
The 100 Club helps the families of first responders lost in the line of duty. Your support makes a difference.
Welcome to the Busy Guy Show. My name is Vince LoCascio, and I'm a busy guy. I've got a busy guy here today. His name is Joe Ahern. He's Chief Executive Officer of 100 Club Chicago, and over 35 years of business experience, part of which contains former President, General Manager of WLS-TV, CBS2 Chicago, and many other things we're going to talk about later. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I'm really honored
Great to be here.
to have you here. We're going to show some video later and stuff, but what is Club 100 of Chicago, and how do you get involved in it?
Club of Chicago is a 501c3 charitable organization. It's been around for 47 years. We've given away over $9 million to police, fire, anyone in law enforcement in Cook County who is killed in line of duty. When they're killed, I show up now representing the 100 Club and provide the family and the surviving spouse $50,000. And then we also send all the kids to college. And we've given away over $9 million over the past 47 years. We've had 249 fatalities. It averages about 5 a year. And we've literally saved lives. A lot of young people, we have 20 in college right now that are going on to really write their own story after coming through a horrific tragedy. So it's a charitable organization made up of and sponsors and members, and we have about 2,500 people that are members now, and we're growing. And we also have 14 universities here in Chicago, in the Chicago metropolitan area, that are providing full scholarships to the kids. And all that came about in just the last 2.5 years. We have Loyola and DePaul and Northwestern, University of Chicago, Illinois Institute of Technology, and others that are providing over $2.5 million in scholarships. So it's really been a godsend for us, and really helping young people to start their own life.
Nice. I mean, as we speak, I don't know if the statistics are actually accurate, but I believe there's approximately 12,000 police and 4,000 firefighters.
That's about right.
For them, the ones that are active now, what it is for them is an assurance that if something happens, that they're going to be taken care of.
Yeah, the first check that I delivered was the day after Thanksgiving. Police officer Michael Flisk was killed in the line of duty, and he has 3 sons and a daughter, Peg, and Peg graduated from DePaul University last June on Father's Day, 2.5 years after her dad passed away, and she's now gone on to John Marshall Law School and getting a degree in criminal justice. And she has said that the 100 Club is the first responder for first responders. And I think that about sums it up, that police and fire know that, God forbid, if anything happens to them, we're the first ones at the door to help them. And those families become like our family. It's when I show up, that's what I tell the spouse. I said, I'm from the 100 Club family, and we're here to help your family, and we'll be with you forever. And to help you in innumerable ways, not only with financial, but educational needs. We have the Chicago Bar Association is providing free probate trust service for the families. Mesero Financial provides counseling for all their financial needs. Motorola Solutions provides help on all their educational needs. It's really an amazing outpouring of generosity.
And it goes on for quite some time. I mean, I think there's like 35 kids. When they become college age, the funds will be there for schooling.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you see these kids who are writing their own story. One of the first guys that I asked to join the 100 Club as a board member was Darrell Jackson. And Darrell is now in his early 50s. In 1969, he was 11 years of age. His dad was a police officer, Chicago police officer, was killed in the line of duty. And we sent Darrell to college, and he went on to become president of Northern Trust Private Wealth Management, one of the most respected banking institutions in Chicago, of course. And he is now a board member and actually hosts all the kids every summer at Northern Trust with their moms, the ones that are going off to college. And when I had the kids and the moms there and introduced Darrell, he got up and began to tell them his story. And he said, I was in your shoes one day, one time, and the 100 Club helped me. And he said, and through college education and the help of the 100 Club, you can do anything you want to do. And it's an inspiring story when you see a guy like Darrell and is still giving back.
Nice. I also read that it's not just spouses, but if someone's parents are dependent upon them financially, before this happens, that they're taken care of as well? Yeah,
if they are, if it is a line of duty death and he is providing for his mom or dad in the home, yes, that is the case. It doesn't happen very often, but yeah, that is the case.
And it covers paramedics as well?
It does.
And anyone, and I believe the federal state level as well.
Yeah, exactly. In last March last year, the state trooper James Sauter was killed on 294, and just in December, the sheriff Estrada was killed, was gunned down. It was a horrible incident. He was at a family outing at a VFW in I think Maywood or near there, and two guys came over to rob his daughter. He was coming out and announced that he was a sheriff, and they shot and killed him. Terrible, terrible tragedy.
Yeah. Well, 100 Club has put together quite a inspirational and emotional video that we'd like to show and give an opportunity to show people a little bit more about 100 Club. So why don't we take a look at that.
Great.
And then we'll come back.
Mayday, mayday, emergency, give me a 211, give me an EMS plan 1. We had a collapse in the rear of the building. Building came down, we got guys trapped.
Go ahead, 2126.
Engine company to the rear of the building immediately with the line. Listen up here, officer, all right? I've got at least 4 guys still trapped. We just made 1 removal. I got fire starting to extend. I got to get water in the back of the building. Fire, not to the lawn now! Fire, not to the lawn now! Fire, not to the lawn!
Lawndale, shots fired at 19th and Lawndale. What unit is on the scene of the shots fired?
The Lawndale, shots fired!
10-4, what unit are you? Shots fired.
We need an ambulance! We need an ambulance!
What
Officer down, officer down, officer down! Officer hit!
What units? We got a 10-1. We got a 10-1 at 1900 South Lawndale. An officer is shot at 1900 South Lawndale. Got a 10-1 at 1900 South Lawndale with an officer down on zone 10 clear.
First became familiar with the 100 Club back in 1969 when my father was tragically killed in the line of duty. And at that time, I was 11 years old. I had 2 sisters who were younger than me. And the night that my father died, the chaplain and the police came to visit. And obviously that night, I became sort of the man of the house. And so I was very concerned about what would happen to our family. My journey to where I've come probably would have been a lot more difficult without the help and the generosity of the 100 Club.
I I had no idea, I mean, to what extent they went to help take care of the widows and widowers and children of police and firemen who were killed in the line of duty. Within a few days, they called and asked me to get all of my bills together, and within 30 days of my getting all of my bills together, and that means just household bills, including the mortgage, was totally paid off. And God has really blessed us with this organization, and I pray that we never have to use it again. But the way the world runs now, I'm sure we will. But thank God for all of the 100 Club members.
With the help of the 100 Club, they have helped me brighten my future. They have helped me to get the college degree that I wanted. They helped me to go to college. I got a degree in sports journalism, and I'm going to pursue that. I'm going to pursue that to another level, as well as try to get a job in that field. But the 100 Club has been so helpful, not just to me, but also to my brother. My brother is in college right now, and he's still getting help from the 100 Club. My mom has wrote countless letters. My brothers wrote countless letters, and me too as well, thanking the 100 Club for everything they've done for me.
To me, the 100 Club is an opportunity for people who really want to help in times of urgency to be able to give to and support families like myself in that moment of need. Not everybody can come to my house and not everyone can send me a card, but it is a really nice structured organization that is there for families, not just in the first day and not just in the first week, but as we struggle to figure out how to move forward without our loved ones.
Sometimes he'd sleep, like take a nap with me, and he'd snore, and to the point that I'd have to wake up and shake him and tell him to stop snoring, because he worked the night shift. At one point, he was asleep on the couch. I was like, "Dad, wake up! It's time to go play!" And I was like, "Wake up!" And he finally got up and we went to the park and we played, and then it was fun.
I dream of Chicago. I dream about you. I dream I could go and say all the things that I never said to you. I dream of Chicago. I dream about you. I dream I could go and say all the things that I never said to you. I dream of Chicago. I dream about you. I dream of you. I dream I could go and say all the things that I never said to you. I dream of Chicago. I dream about you. I dream I could go and say all the things that I never said to you.
Okay. Well, if we can back up a little about the history of what I found out in my homework today about how 100 Club started in Detroit.
Yeah, in 1952, a Pontiac car dealer read about a widow who was going to lose her home, and her husband had been shot and killed, and he went and paid off all of her debt. And about a month later, another police officer was shot and killed in Detroit, and this same car dealer had a buddy of his who was another successful car dealer, and he called him and he said, "You know, we got to help these families." And so they reached out to 100 of their friends and said, "Why don't we start the 100 Club?" And so if you fast forward now, there's about 125 chapters all over the United States, and they're small charitable organizations, 1, 2, 3 people that provide. Their mission is to help the families of fallen police, fire, paramedics in their community when one is killed in line of duty. In the case of Chicago, we started in 1966. We now have 5 people, in the office, including myself, that helps with all the university partnerships, the families, and others. So we have a summer camp for the kids too. This we started 2 summers ago, and it's just amazing what we're doing with 10 to 14-year-old kids, getting them on the right track in leadership.
Nice. And I should be fair to mention, because the show is shown in DuPage County as well, but there's a chapter here as well.
Yes, in Cook County. We cover all of Cook County. You know, it's interesting, Vince, last year when there was 19 firefighters killed in Prescott, Arizona, which is part of the Phoenix, Arizona, I called the president of the 100 Club in Phoenix, and to just tell them that we were standing by them with support in any way we could. And she said, you know, we have 45,000 first responders that they are covering in Arizona, all of Arizona. And I said to her, you know, we have 45,000 first responders in Cook County. That's how big Cook County is, with all the communities and all the police and fire and paramedics. And of course we cover state, local, federal, the DEA, the Secret Service, the state police, the ATF, all branches of the police and fire and law enforcement. If, God forbid, one is killed in the line of duty, we're there.
Such a great cause. I mean, these guys and their families know that every day that they leave for work, you know, you don't know if they're coming back. So, and what a sudden change. But it's not like you're bringing them back, but they're going through such a sudden stress right away. So when you show up, you're pulling away at least the financial worry for them.
Yeah, I mean, in the case of Michael Flisk, I mean, it was the day after Thanksgiving, and it's just so unexpected. It's such a terrible tragedy for the family, and so we're there to provide immediate financial help, and then we come back and are able to help with the kids going off to college and with counseling and even more than that, just let the family knowing that there's people out there that really care about them. That when I tell them that we're, you know, I'm representing 2,500 people that are members of the 100 Club and corporations and foundations that really appreciate your service and the sacrifice, because God forbid, what would our communities be like without policemen and firemen? And whenever I go out and speak to a group and I tell them, I bet you that there's not one person in this room, and sometimes there's several hundred people in a room, I said, that hasn't benefited or had their loved one benefited by a policeman or a fireman or a paramedic who has helped save their life or help them in some way. And if you think about that, boy, this place would be chaos without our police and fire and the sacrifices that they make every day. So I'm really blessed to be able to do what we do.
And just the peace of mind, you know, the peace of mind knowing that the streets are safe, that if you got to pick up 911 and call, they're going to be there for you.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit, if you could please, about the Gold Shield program partners that helps with legal and financial for the families as well?
Yeah, right after I delivered my first check, I realized that, you know, the $50,000 that we provide to the family is a godsend, and also the educational help. But when you think about it, the family is trying to deal with so many issues, and whether it's education or financial or legal or counseling or health care, insurance. And so I set out to create a Gold Shield partnership program. And the first one was Motorola. And Motorola stepped up. Motorola is the largest provider of police and fire communication systems, and they've been very, very supportive of the 100 Club. And they stepped up to help us with all the educational needs and with our educational committee in helping the families. Mesereau Financial in Chicago has just been amazing. They have provided pro bono support to the families. Last year, when one of the firefighters was killed, they actually went to her home and sat with her and said, you know, share with us what your needs are on the financial side, and not that they wanted to do the work for her. I mean, you could use any bank or you could use any institution. They just wanted to help her. It was completely altruistic. It's really amazing. So we still have a need in insurance and healthcare and counseling. Those three areas, I would like to be able to provide that service to the families too. That would be the crowning achievement if we could have all 6 of those areas covered for these families.
Well, I wish you the best, because I know that the effort that, when you say it as a family, that 100 Club becomes a family for everybody. What's the Valor Award? Is what I read is they get the award, but there's a pin that they can. It's the only one that they can officially wear on their a civilian award on their uniform.
Yeah, that's right. It's almost 30 years now that the 100 Club is doing the Valor Awards, and we work with police and fire and law enforcement in all of Cook County, and then they provide us with a list of candidates to decide on which ones should receive the Valor Award. We usually give between 4 and 6 awards at an event once a year, and they get this beautiful pin. Kind of reminds me of the Congressional Medal of Honor, only on a local level.
Nice.
And then we have a beautiful watch, engraved watch that we provide them as well, and they get to bring all their family members to this event. And of course, the command staff from their local law enforcement, and as far as police or fire, always Commissioner Santiago or Superintendent McCarthy is there. And we usually have about 300 people, and it's very moving. When you hear some of these stories of what these policemen and firemen and go through, and they're literally putting their lives on the line.
Every day.
Oh, man, it is really, gut-wrenching to hear what happens.
I know through the year there's some programs. One of them is on the bell ringing on 9/11 that you do.
Yeah, that just happened actually with the this past fall. We had actually it was the fire hydrant campaign that we did. There's 101 firehouses in Chicago, and we called it the Great Chicago Fire Hydrant Project. And if you remember, it was about 13, 14 years ago that they had the Painted Cows exhibit on Michigan Avenue and all around Chicago. And Commissioner Santiago was approached about doing a painted fire hydrants, and they were 5 feet high, 3 feet wide, cast, and that we had local Chicago artists paint them, and we sold 101 of them. And then they were displayed all over the city, and then we had a public auction at the Hyatt Regency on Wacker last December 4th, and raised about $75,000. And we, on September 11th, this past September 11th in 2013, we were there at Engine 98, right across from Lurie Children's Hospital, and we had a ceremonial bell ringing at the exact time that the World Trade Center was attacked. Very moving, and we had a large turnout of police and fire to honor them.
Nice. I also, reading my homework, found out about the mascot Brady.
Oh yeah, Brady came to me. We were at an event about the 100 Club Fire Hydrant Project, and George Raviola was the former captain of the Engine 13, which is right over near the Fairmont Hotel, and he was there with a Dalmatian dog named Brady. And I fell in love with the dog. And I have 3 dogs, and so I fell in love with this dog. And I said, well, I'd like to make Brady. He's a Dalmatian, so he's a perfect fire dog. And so he became my mascot. Then I thought, gee, I love horses, and I love the guys down at the mounted unit. And they have 32 horses down with the mounted unit, and each one of those horses is named after a police officer who has been killed in the line of duty.
Oh, they all are. Well, in my reading, I thought it was just the one. But
No. Every one of them is named after a police officer. And I called Lieutenant Paul Bauer, who's the head of the mounted unit, and I said, Lieutenant, I'd love if we could have one of the horses named as our mascot. And so Fahey O'Brien was a police officer who was gunned down along with his partner back in the 80s. And so there's a beautiful...
Richard O'Brien, I said.
Yeah, so we have our horse Fahey O'Brien and Brady, and they've been out to our events, and they were in our last newsletter. I had the horse on one hand and Brady on the other hand, and they're just great. People love to come out and see them.
Nice. What can you tell me about this guy? I always ask him, what are you, a comedian? But Tom Dreesen, and how he helped put together a commercial for that we saw at the beginning of the show, actually.
Yeah, well, Tommy's been a dear friend of mine for a long, long time, and he has a big heart for police and fire, and of course, being raised in Chicago. And he knows where my heart is now, and Dennis Farina was Tommy's best friend, and that's how I got to know Dennis about 30 years ago, and we became just great friends together. And when I took over this job, I asked Tommy if I had an idea. I said, I would love if we could get Dennis Farina, Dennis Franz, who played Sipowicz on NYPD Blue, Joe Mantegna,
all Chicago guys,
William Peterson, Gary Sinise, and you. I said, every one of these guys have played police officers. Actually, Tommy played a police officer in a small bit role that he did in a film. And I said, that would really be cool if we could do a public service campaign and run it on all TV stations. And Tommy called Joe Mantegna and Dennis Farina, and Joe gave us the set of Criminal Minds, December of 2012. And so I was out there with all the guys. All 6 of them came in on their own dime and did the PSA, and it ran for an entire year. We actually won an Emmy Award, the best public service campaign of 2012, 2013. We produced it in 2012, but it ran all through 2013. So it was just a fantastic, win for us, and it gave us a platform of public acceptance, and it ran at all the Bulls games, it ran at the Blackhawks games, and we had billboard campaign. We had 350 bus shelters all over the city with these guys, and so people really got to know what the 100 Club was all about, what our mission stood for.
And unfortunately, since Dennis Farina has passed, but you're naming a scholarship in his honor?
Yes, yes. Dennis passed last summer, and Cahill, who has been his love for about 30 years, and I asked. I was at the funeral, and it just came to me that Dennis was a member of the 100 Club and loved what we were doing. And I asked if we could present a scholarship to one of our kids in the name of Dennis, and so that's what we started this year.
What a great legacy.
Yeah.
Well, let's run out of time because we're busy guys, but promise me, please, one day you'll come back and we'll talk about Joe Ahern.
Oh, I'd love to.
The Chicago guru of television. And here's some cannolis for you.
Oh boy, that I will be back.
All right.
I'll definitely be back.
100clubchicago.org. You can't beat the cause, so thank you, Joe. Especially on a cold night. I should mention it's 45 below with the wind out there. Thank you so much.
But warm in here.
Yes.
Every single day, my mother was in the kitchen. My father cooked too. He made a really good sauce. My mother made the best. The meatballs were like unbelievable. Forget about it. And all the greens, like the broccoli rabe and the dandelions, and we used to. And she'd cook the zucchinis, and she'd make a beautiful salad out of dandelions and fresh tomatoes. I'm proud to be an Italian American.
The Italian American heritage. Live it, love it, celebrate it.